Thank you very much, Miguel. So, in the afternoon we will have a session, a panel discussion. So, questions addressed to the speakers of this session can be also addressed in the afternoon. So let's follow with Dr. Mario Hamuy from CONICYT in Chile.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you very much to the ICTP-SAIFR Institute for inviting me and having the opportunity to share with you the excitement of your 5th anniversary. I'm very impressed for what you have achieved in such a short time, and it's clearly an inspiration and a model for all of us. Well, I was asked to speak about Chilean science and funding. So what I'm going to do is to give a brief overview of CONICYT, which is the main funding agency of science and technology in my country. Just summarizing some characteristics of Chile, has 18 million people, territory divided in 15 regions. It's a very long country, almost 4,000 kilometers north-south, which makes it very interesting to understand, for example, climate change at different latitudes. Its economy is based mainly on the exploitation of mineral resources and natural resources in general. And we have to work hard to change the way Chilean economy is structured in a way that we add more knowledge to our development. Some basic figures. 39% of the population between 18 to 24 years are enrolled in higher education, which is, I think, an asset for our future plans and development. In year 2014, we had 46,000 graduate students, mostly at the master level. The current level of expenditure in research and development is almost 0.4% of our GDP. Which is the lowest among the OECD group. We have a population or a community of researchers, active researchers of that level in the country, which given our population is still low compared to, for example, European countries. The level of publication is given here. These are reference papers of the order of 10,000 per year, with reasonably good impact, slightly above world average. Here is our country in terms of the investment in research and development as a percentage of the GDP. So you can see that we are unfortunately in the left of this diagram, and these are the number of researchers per thousands of total employment. So the number of PhDs or active researchers per normalized to the population of the country. So again, we have a lot of work to do. Here's the distribution, the histogram of investment in research and development of different countries. As you know, Israel leads this ranking with more than 4% of investment in research and development. And Chile is here, at the level of 0.3, 0.4%, similar to other South American countries, but significantly below Argentina and Brazil. This is the way the system of science, technology, and innovation, this is the structure of the system in Chile. The main authority is the president of the country. It's a very presidential system with a lot of power concentrated in one person. And we have a council for innovation and development, which started in year 2005. And the main role is to establish the longer-term strategy in this area. And it's a advisory council to the president of the country. So this is the strategic level. Below that are the political decisions. And at the moment, the main actors are the Ministry of Education, under which policy our agency is located, the Ministry of Economy, where most of the innovation tools are located. And here are the tools mostly for science, technology, and of course education. And here are other ministries, like the Ministry of Finances, of course, which is always important. And of course, we are lacking what Argentina and Brazil have, the Ministry of Science and Technology. And we're working in that direction, taking your experience as a model. Actually, a few months ago, I visited Miguel Angel in Buenos Aires with a group of people from Chile in order to learn about your experience, what went good, what went wrong, and in order to establish a model for the future Ministry of Science and Technology in Chile. So the funding agencies in Chile are here. CONICET is the main one under the Ministry of Education. Corfo is the one promoting innovation in the country. And ICM is a small agency that funds research centers in the country. It's under the Ministry of Economy, even though the mission of the agency is to promote basic research. So that's part of the oddities of our system. And the main developers are the universities. Most of the research is done, nearly 90% of the research is done in the universities. There are some independent research centers. Industry, not much as we would like. And some institutes, public institutes of technology. This is the amount of the evolution of the investment in research and development with the time from 2008 to a couple of years ago, and it has been going up at the level of almost $1 billion. This is Chilean currency, which doesn't mean much to you. So this is about $1 billion that Chile invests in R&D, of which the private component is about 1/3, and that's low compared to developed countries. And the rest is essentially, 2/3 of this. Now, about 40% of this column is public investment, a little bit over 30% is private, and the rest are universities mainly. And this is the public funding for science, technology, and innovation divided in the different agencies. CONICIT is shown here in green. You see an increase and a flattening over the past 5 years. Our budget in international units is about $500 million. And then we have Corfo, the Innovation Agency, and other ministries. This is in particular the evolution of the budget of CONICIT. As you see, it went up significantly in the last decade, and then it has been leveling off. CONICIT does two things. Basically, it provides fellowships for graduate students. About almost 1/3 of our budget goes into the formation of human resources. And the other 2/3 goes into the promotion of scientific and technological research. CONICIT has been, well, it's about to turn 50 years old. Next year we will celebrate that anniversary. It was founded in 1967, and it has grown in a non-planned way. So today we have an assembly of many different programs, and clearly that's not very efficient. So we have a lot of work to do in reorganizing the institution to make it more effective. This is a very simplified slide showing the structure of CONICIT. CONICIT has 15 different programs, and they have been summarized in these 5 circles or gears. Right? As I mentioned before, about 1/3 of our resources go to the training of graduate students. Okay. Right now we have a stock of about 5,000 fellows funded by CONICIT. 3,000 in the country and 2,000 abroad. An important thing to mention is that international students are eligible to apply to this program. So some Brazilians or Argentinians or young students want to pursue graduate studies in Chile, they can apply to this program. And this one instead is reserved for national citizens. 2,000 are currently being funded to study abroad. Mainly Chileans prefer to go to the US, England, and Spain. Those are the favorite destinations. And one of the problems that we have had is that this program has been working under demand. The country has not been strategic and focusing on some areas. The main reason for that is that CONICIT has not had a council, didn't have a council for 40 years. It was put on recess in 1974, and only last year the council was reestablished. So that means, or that meant, that basically CONICIT didn't have clear policies. So we're very well behind the experience that Miguel Ángel told us in Argentina. So we have to reestablish priorities, focus, strategy from the council. So this means that students have been going elsewhere to study whatever they want. Problem is that now they come back to Chile with their degrees, and oftentimes they do not find jobs. And they complain. So we have an issue here. Well, the other main program in CONICIT is FONDECIT. FONDECIT funds fundamental research from the social sciences, even arts and humanities, to exact sciences. Fondesit has currently more than 3,000 grants or projects undergoing at 3 levels. The first one is postdoc. And again, I mentioned that it's open to people from anywhere in the world. So if freshly graduated Brazilian or Argentinian student would like to pursue or do a postdoc in Chile, they are eligible. In fact, about half of the postdocs funded by Fondesit are from abroad. And then you have grants for young researchers in the universities, and then for more senior researchers. And the typical level of funding is about $50,000 per year. And these are grants that can go for 3 or 4 years. And usually the researchers complain that it's not enough. All right, then we have the FONDEF program, and that is meant for applied research. And these are all individual grants. Okay? And here we have associative research. Anillos are meant for 3-4 researchers who get together and propose a project. And there are 61 of those are in operation. And then what we call centers, which are not really centers, are larger associations. About 10 to 15 people get together, not necessarily from one university. They can come from different universities, and they establish a network. Okay? So these are not really centers with bricks, like yours, ICTP or ITP. These are networks hosted by the universities, except for a couple. Jorge Sanelli is coming from a center located in the south of Chile, which is independent from the universities, and it is funded by CONICET. It's a center that has several research lines. One of them is physics. So there are only 2 real centers. So now the question or the challenge is how to step from these collaborative grants or collaborative projects to the next level, to establish real centers in Chile. So that's something we're working within the Council of CONICET and trying to establish a policy for national centers. Well, then we have regional centers, 1 per region. Chile is divided in 15 territories, and so far we have 13 centers in the regions of Chile. And then these projects or these centers are real ones, which are independent from the universities, and they are co-funded by CONICET and the regional governments. And they are mostly devoted to the regional vocation. And we have an outreach program, which is called Explora, which is growing and having a very interesting impact in the country in terms of reaching the general public and reaching that gap that Miguel Angel was mentioning. How do you convince the general public that science is important for them? How do you connect science with the society? So Explore is very important in that regard. And then in the middle here is the International Relationship Program. So there are tools that allow to build collaborations between Chilean centers and their equivalent abroad. And this is fully funded by Chile, so there are great opportunities for collaboration. And in particular, we have agreements, bilateral agreements with some countries. As I speak, we are working out a collaborative agreement with FAPESTE, which is still in a draft mode, and soon it should be signed by both parts to promote exchange of scientists between the two countries, to organize workshops and even run joint projects, joint research projects. Okay? And soon I'm going to visit Argentina, Buenos Aires. I'm going to meet with the director of CONICET in order to work out an agreement in the field of astrophysics, which is a very strong field in Chile, and also astroengineering, the engineering associated to the construction of telescopes and sophisticated instruments. Well, this is again the map of Chile with the different research centers distributed in the country. There is still a strong concentration in the metropolitan region, Santiago in other words, which is somewhere here. And that's a challenge, certainly. We have to make sure that science and research reaches every corner of the country. As I said before, most of the research is done in the universities, and smaller amount in the industries, a very small amount in the public sector. That's a challenge, as we have been talking lately with my colleagues in Chile. These are the countries with which the Chilean community collaborates over that period of time. The US is clearly important, mainly because most of us got our PhD degrees in that country, so that establishes networks for the future. Spain, Germany, France, England. And in South America, we have Argentina here. Unfortunately, Brazil doesn't show up in this diagram. Where is it? Ah, thank you. All right, I feel better. All right, and finally, I think I'm running out of time. We have a number of challenges, many challenges. We have, I have to admit, a weak institutionality for science, technology, and innovation. CONICET has been very important. It's about to turn 50 years. It has been the main support to what we have today. And unfortunately, the council of CONICET was put in recess more than 40 years ago. So that means that our country has grown scientifically not by priorities or a wish or a plan, but just by demand. So we have not been very strategic, so we have to work on that. So we're working from the council in trying to establish priorities, strategy, focus. We're working in trying to establish a policy for research centers. We're trying to establish a policies for fellowships so that the students who go abroad or study in Chile eventually could get jobs. And also we are trying to restructure CONICET to make it a more efficient organization with less proliferation of programs and more internal coordination. And we have these priorities, quote unquote, because again, they have not happened because of previous planning. They have happened because someone decided at some point that was important, but not through a collegiate effort. So what we have now, in a very diffuse way, in CONICET, are some priorities or higher priorities areas which have happened through time, and they are now in the system. Mining, global climate change, megacities, agriculture, and solar energy. Astronomy is important, Antarctic studies as well, and seismology. So there is a lot to work, a lot of work to do, and as I already anticipated, we're working toward the creation of a Ministry of Science and Technology. It was the decision of the President of Chile last January, and in March, she asked me to coordinate that process. And the goal is to submit a bill to the Congress before the end of the year, which is quite a challenge. It's quite a challenge to have people, even within the government, to agree in a model. So I've been working in that direction. I'm pleased to say that a few weeks ago we submitted a proposal to the government, particularly to the 4 ministers who are related to this area. And now we have to find a time to meet and discuss the proposal and try to come up with a final proposal to be submitted to the president. And that has to happen in less than 2 months. So with that said, I stop here and I thank you very much again for your time.